Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody's weekend's going well. We got day 46, The Witcher. We are pushing through the DLC, the final DLC, Blood and Wine. We're pushing main storyline. We've got most of the secondary quests, Witcher contracts, treasure hunts, things like that taken care of. So we're just pushing through this main quest line. We're going to try to just go ahead and get it taken care of this weekend so we can move on to some Cult of the Lamb next week. Yeah, that's the play. That's the play. So we'll see where we get at today. And, yeah, so that's kind of the play for us. On that note, let's do what we do. Let's get over here, take a look at this video gaming news, see what we can find new in regards to what's going on in the gaming industry. And then we'll move on to our Witcher 3 content. Cool? Let's go. Let's go! Yeah, we watched the Disney and Marvel game showcase yesterday. We'll look at what The Verge has to say about it. We'll do a quick recap. It wasn't very long yesterday. A lot of the stuff that was in it we kind of knew about already, so not a whole lot of surprise there. But we'll take a look and see what they have for us, okay? We got into the showcase a little bit late because we had heard there was going to be a PlayStation showcase, which didn't end up happening. So now there's supposed to be an Ubisoft showcase today. We'll take a look at what time that one's supposed to be happening, and we'll maybe watch that one today live, okay? It's supposed to be a lot of Assassin's Creed news coming in on that Ubisoft showcase today, so we'll see what we can do about tuning into that. Yeah, new DLC confirmed at the Disney showcase yesterday. We kind of saw that. Looks like Assassin's Creed games are dirt cheap right now, probably because Ubisoft has this Assassin's Creed announcement stuff they're popping out. So new Gargoyles video game announced. I don't know that we saw that yesterday either, because we got to tune into the showcase a little bit late. So let's take a look. I'm going to bring this up as well because this is something we missed yesterday also because of tuning in late. The Tron visual novel with Disney. We saw this. I'm not going to dive into that. Official Steam Deck repair centers are now open. Huh. Okay, let's see what's going on. Perfect Dark gets a new update from Xbox Executive. Let's take a look. Last of Us Part 1 remake isn't the only excessive what? Remaster out there. Yeah, we're going to read this. I think there is an issue with things being remastered that don't necessarily need it yet. I think that's what we're probably going to read about there. I think one of the issues we've talked about a lot in the news segments regarding that topic is that it seems like developers are very hesitant to try their hand at new content nowadays rather than just take games and do remakes. And what that is leading to is games being remade that don't necessarily need it yet. We read about AEW Fight Forever yesterday, some additional news, so I'm not going to dive into it today as well. Just know that AEW Fight Forever is bringing some competition to the AAA space of professional wrestling games. Yeah. Which is good because the WWE games for quite a while now have been virtually the only AAA titles in that genre, the wrestling game for wrestling games, and they have not been fantastic, from what I understand. Lots of glitches and bugs and things like that, and there's not a lot of prompting on the part of the developer to get things fixed or release a polished title or get things fixed after the fact because they are the only AAA game out there. Having competition at this point is going to be good to elevate the quality at which WWE needs to be releasing their title. And competition is just good all around. So we'll see what happens there on that front. I fully expect it to take a couple of years for AEW to really hone in their product here with this wrestling game, but it's good nonetheless. Atari reveals Sunnyvale. Let's take a look at that. We saw this yesterday. The This was a kind of a funny commercial or yo gamer, what's up, buddy? When we watched the Disney showcase, Disney Marvel showcase, we saw this Marvel World AR game. It look I was laughing because what it reminded me of was like a Gushers commercial or like some kind of like fruit by the foot commercial or something like that where like the kids like pop a gusher and then it's like like you see those like snack commercials where they do some kind of like collaboration with like Disney or Marvel or something, right? And then like they turn into like a cartoon character. So that's what it reminded me of. They like pop a gusher and then all of a sudden they like are shooting lasers out of their eyes. And stuff. That's what it reminded me of. It was really kind of wild. Let's go ahead and pivot here. Let's see what else we can find. Was that it? Yeah. I mean, that was our. It was like it was over pretty quick yesterday. I mean, we got in there a little bit late, but not very late. It was roughly 25 minutes. I don't know. And a lot of what they showed us was stuff that we already knew was coming to the table, really. So I don't know. It wasn't packed full of like unveils or anything for sure. They weren't showing us things in the works we hadn't already seen. Absolutely, but I don't know. Video game executive faces backlash over comments. See what's going on here. I think the big unveil for them was this Captain America Black Panther game they've got coming, but it got leaked like a couple of days before the showcase, so we already knew that was coming as well. We read about this yesterday also. Games Done Quick, awesome Games Done Quick, has pulled out of their Florida venue to hold their in-person event, live event. Yeah, that Java dude, I'm on board with that this morning. Yeah, man. Um, Due to mainly discrimination. Yeah. The Don't Say Gay Act. Yeah, a lot of discrimination down there in Florida right now, and basically GDQ said that they don't feel safe holding their event for participants and any kind of people that want to attend the event. So they pulled out of holding the event in Florida at the venue, which they have held and are under contract to hold the event at the venue down there in Florida since like I think 2020, something like that. 2020. Um, Feels bad, man. It's an amazing charitable organization, and again, I linked GDQ. I'll go ahead and link it again because GDQ is an amazing um, nonprofit, like charitable organization. Um, they do what is it? Biannual events, I think. It's just speed running for charity. They raise a ton of money for like Doctors Without Borders and just other amazing charitable organizations and stuff. So if you've never seen, if you're not familiar with Games Done Quick, please check out their page. It's an amazing place and a lot of great content. So please check out GDQ. Awesome place. But if you want to deep dive into that article, that topic, please look at yesterday's news segment. Okay, that's a bit of a TLDR there for you. Bit of a summary. We went over it yesterday, so if you want a bit more of details regarding it, please check out yesterday's news segment. It'll be September 9th edition on YouTube, okay? Is Amazon Prime's Fallout TV show based on the video game? I think is what that's going to be. We'll take a look. It's going to have to be to an extent, I think. But storyline wise, I doubt it. We'll see. New Marvel Midnight Suns release date revealed. I don't remember what they showed yesterday in the showcase, but we'll see. Looks like there's a Disney Dreamlight Valley update to fix some Switch bugs and stuff. We'll take a look. What is this? What is this? Saddened to report that Fortnite is still somehow very good. What are video games for if not to see Spider-Man kill a gun-toting banana with a laser beam from Dragon Ball Z? Maybe we'll read this. And see why they're saddened. I mean, if a video game's good, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess I could say the same thing for something like Overwatch. A lot of people like Overwatch. To me, it's a little bit sad that that video game's good because I'm just not a fan of what Blizzard is. So, to an extent, I can understand why somebody might be sad that a game is good based on maybe who makes the game or something like that. Yeah. What combat creator asks fans if they want Marvel versus probably Mortal Kombat, I'm guessing. Let's take a look. Sims developer Max is seeking multiplayer game designer. See what's going on there. Dune Awakening, news, release date, and gameplay. Let's go. We've already got something up about Sunnyvale. $12-minute long video. New 12-minute long gameplay video of Evil West, I think is what this is. Yeah, pre-order your copy now. Okay. Take a look at that. We got quite a few articles here. Let's stick with that and see what's going on. Is Amazon Prime's Fallout TV show based on video games? Amazon Prime has its, I almost said Premazon. Amazon Prime has its sights set on a new kind of blockbuster franchise with the upcoming Fallout series. Details about the impending show are still scarce, but its name is familiar enough to prompt questions. A Mission Impossible film of the same name elicited similar comparisons when it was released, but the 2018 flick shared nothing in common with Bethesda's long-standing video game franchise of the same name. Is the same true for Prime's upcoming series, or are Fallout fans set to see the beloved video game franchise adapted for the small screen? Amazon Prime's upcoming post-apocalyptic series is based around Bethesda's and Interplay Entertainment's video game franchise of the same name. The series is intended as an adaptation of the popular games with a setting that falls after a world-ending nuclear war in 2077. That's a very familiar year, yeah? Cyberpunk. That's weird. What is it with that date? Why 2077? What's that about? It will lean on the 50s vibe that saturate the Fallout genre, and hopes are high that it will bring many of the most popular elements from the series to the small screen. Westworld co-creators Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan have already been tapped to bring the series to life, and their involvement is great news for Fallout fans. Even more exciting is news that Todd Howard, no way, Howard, the director behind several of the most popular Fallout titles, will also be joining the crew. With such a talented team behind it, Prime's Fallout series seems far more likely to succeed than your average video game adaptation. Unfortunately, that's not saying much. Video game adaptations have a tendency to be uniquely terrible. A few solid video game adaptations out there tend to veer drastically from the source material and thus hardly feel like adaptations at all. Instead, they feel a bit like robbery. They cherry pick elements from the source material that seem like clear winners and alter every other element to suit a new purpose. It strips the material that we love bare and typically butchers it in the process. For this reason, video game fans tend to approach any adaptation with broad trepidation. We've never truly gotten a stellar adaptation, though hopes are high that HBO Max's The Last of Us manages to stay true to its stellar source material, and thus gamers have little reason to put their faith in Fallout. The series has high potential, particularly if the showrunners lean into these wasteland vibes, but nothing is certain in the world of adaptations. Their efforts could yield a surprise hit, or gamers could have another Halo series on our hands. We won't know for sure until the series officially drops, but Fallout fans will be holding their breath. Let's just hope it's worth the hype. Yeah. I mean, they're not necessarily telling us anything here we don't know. I didn't know that they had, I think the big thing for me is I didn't know they had Todd Howard involved, which is funny. But there we go. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out to be. Hopefully good, but they're not wrong. Quite often, video games that get adaptations to be turned into, whether it be movies or, series, TV series, what have you, animated series, they don't, I would say, more often than not, they don't pan out to be fantastic. But there are some good ones out there. Arcane is amazing. I feel like The Witcher 3, while not actually canon for the lore of The Witcher, is very entertaining. Sonic the Hedgehog movies have been very good. It can be done, right? But Sonic the Hedgehog also doesn't play off of the video game lore or anything like that either. So, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. New Marvel's Midnight Suns release date revealed. As part of the Disney Marvel's game showcase that happened yesterday, Midnight Suns developer Firaxis and 2K have revealed that the upcoming Marvel-branded video game will officially release on December 2nd for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. PS4, Xbox One, and Switch versions still do not have a definitive release date. The new release date announcement also included a new look at gameplay in the video game and an animated intro to the title. Yeah, it was originally listed for what, an October release? Is that right? Oh, no. Yeah, I think so. It was indefinitely delayed in August because it was supposed to release in October, I think. Yeah, it had previously been scheduled to release on October 7th. So the playable characters revealed in the title so far include the all-new hero, the Hunter, which is your customizable player character. So that is the Hunter. Then you got Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Blade, Ghost Rider, Magic, Nico Minoru, Spider-Man, and Scarlet Witch. So December 2nd for current gen consoles. Previous gen consoles, they don't have a release date yet. All right. Disney's Dreamlight Valley update to fix Nintendo Switch crashes and more bugs. The free-to-play Disney live sim and adventure game Disney Dreamlight Valley from Gameloft in collaboration with Disney and Pixar Games was released earlier this week in early access for the PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, Xbox One, and Switch. Anyone that has purchased a Founders Pack edition of the video game or that has an Xbox Game Pass membership can play it right now. Looks like the first big update for the title is set to fix a number of issues next week. Quote, over the past few days, your feedback has been immensely helpful in identifying some key issues. The official Twitter account for Disney Dreamlight Valley recently shared. We're happy to report we've been able to fix some of these and have an update on the way. We are targeting a release next week. You can check out the full list of what the update is set to include for yourself embedded below. Current update is going to include a fix for changing clothes, improved Founders Pack claiming, fix for Error 7, reduced Switch crashes, improved Dream Shard frequency, multiple fixes for quest progression tied to unreachable, missing, and unrecognized items. This isn't exactly a full list of patch notes, however, so expect there to be other changes and updates not included in the above. Even so, it's a rather significant list of issues being fixed, given that the video game has only been out in early access for less than a week. In general, it is always good to see a developer immediately tackling problems. Yes. As noted above, a new update. Yeah. Expected to release at some point next week, but they haven't given a specific time or date. Yeah. The full release of the game is set for 2023 at some point. All right. We'll keep track. All right, let's see what this author has to say here. Saddened to report that Fortnite is still somehow very good. What are video games for if not to see Spider-Man kill a gun-toting banana with the laser beam from Dragon Ball Z? Are they talking about Kamehameha? The laser beam. So what's funny is I've seen this. I've seen these funny clips from after Dragon Ball came out of people calling the Kamehameha all kinds of weird, wonky names because they don't know about Dragon Ball. They play Fortnite and they don't know anything about Dragon Ball. So they've been referring to the Kamehameha of like all these weird, wonky like names. They don't know how to pronounce it. It's hilarious. The frustrating thing about Fortnite, a video game that actively works to devour as much of human culture as it can, get its brightly colored tentacles on, rendering all aspects of our shared existence as just so much grist for its never-ending content mill. Thus, it may feed it back to us and our children in the most simplistic of digitized forms, is that it's actually very good. This thought occurred to me recently as a round I was playing ended abruptly when my sole surviving enemy, dressed obviously like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, destroyed the garage I was hiding in with a Dragon Ball, Kamehameha, and then shot me in the head. This is a good video game. I thought to myself as Tom Holland danced on my corpse, it's so cool that this happened. Reader, I was not being sarcastic. It's easy to make fun of Fortnite, of course, for its Weezer integration, for its attempts at political self-seriousness, for its bizarre position as a canonical Star Wars plot delivery mechanism, for its complete domination of gaming culture, especially via the codification of so many elements of the free-to-play ecosystem, for its obsessive screech volume memishness, for all the banana crap, etc. And yet, for all that, Fortnite is actually very good. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't good, it would not be as popular as it is today, right? There's no doubt about it. I take no relish in revealing this. It's the gaming writer equivalent of praising a McDonald's cheeseburger as a model of cheap flavor and efficiency, but it is unfortunately true. Yeah, and it's true for a couple of reasons. The first foremost being that the game is it originally ripped off many years ago PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. The patriarch of the Battle Royale genre was just such a good idea, throwing 100 players onto a shrieking island, tasking them with killing each other. Besides being an apt metaphor for about 1,000 different real-world nightmares, it's still just an incredible hook, a mix of high highs and humiliating lows that can make a handshake in anticipation as that next sweet victory royale looms closer even now. Fortnite has even made its ties to these base design even clearer of late by offering a mode that gets rid of the whole fort building bit, which was a great play by them, which was always a bar to entry for those of us intimidated by children capable of whipping up impenetrable plywood palaces in 10 seconds or less. Doesn't hurt that Epic, the studio that makes Fortnite, has been in the shooter biz for longer than most of their competitors have even been in business, period. The guns in Fortnite might be goofy, but the shooting is incredibly solid. The weapon design is shockingly smart. Take, for instance, the Kamehameha, which is still floating around the game after a recent DBZ event. It really is a fascinating display of the game's philosophy toward new weapons. Sure, it's a meme item carrying all the excitement of firing off Goku's big blue beam, but it's also a fascinating risk-reward, allowing players to do an immense amount of damage to enemies or destroy their cover at the cost of making the user float up in the air while yelling and generating a very bright "shoot me before I laser you" light. The genius of Fortnite is in crafting an item that is clearly a blatant Dragon Ball Z cash grab and a tactically fascinating addition to the game's combat mechanics, both trash and treasure all at once. What brings us to the more fundamental reason that Fortnite is actually very good, an explanation that is unfortunately going to involve the word palimpsest. Because like those ancient writing slates, Fortnite is messy. It's weird in a way that none of its competitors have ever grasped, and weirdness is what keeps it fascinating even as more technically impressive rivals crop up. Excuse me. Take a drink. The amazing thing about Fortnite is that it still contains traces of every blatantly dopey decision or content tie-in it's offered up in its 5 years of operation. That's present in the player skins. Of course, so many player skins from so many licensed properties, but also in the game's base mechanics. All of the things that now make the game such an expansively weird product. It is, as far as I know, the only Battle Royale shooter where you can fish for food before solving an Indiana Jones puzzle or doing a full automotive racing track to pick up some fancy new guns. Having been added to it piecemeal over the years and have just sort of been left intact through multiple wipes of its scattershot lore, the result is a sort of chaos that would have been extremely difficult for the development team to make all at once, but which has become a natural outgrowth of years of constant updates and evolution of design that transcends any single given design document. Or to put it in another way, even as Fortnite has striven to devour all of modern pop culture, it has also moved to devour itself, and that's kind of beautiful in an awful sort of way. Yeah, that's a good article. I mean, I talk about this a lot. Fortnite comes up quite often, especially when we do the news. It's not my jam, but I respect the game for what it is. And Epic has done a very good job at keeping the game relevant. To the point that basically everybody wants to do a collab with Fortnite. And what's funny about it is that if you look at the way the collabs work, the way that Fortnite is created, the universe, the environment, the type of animation that's used and everything, it allows for a lot of different collaborations to work very well and seamlessly within the Fortnite world. Whereas Fortnite stuff doesn't necessarily always transfer very well into other universes. Whether it be like, I don't know, they do collabs with everything. I mean, they do WWE, they do Magic the Gathering, they do, all kinds of movie stuff. They've got Marvel, Spider-Man, Wolverine, you name it, and everybody wants to be promoted within Fortnite. And it's really just a kudos to their marketing team in keeping the game very, very relevant, very popular, and they've done a great job with it. They really have. You can't deny that. You really can't. As often as I hear people talk trash about the game, I hear people talk trash about Fortnite all the time. And again, I can't talk trash about it. I've never really played it. It doesn't appeal to me. It's not the kind of game that I go look at and go, man, that looks fun to me. It doesn't look fun to me. That's why I don't play it. But I respect the game for what it is and for what it has meant to the gaming industry and specifically the Battle Royale genre. And Epic has done a fantastic job of keeping it relevant and a magnificent job of just marketing the game. And I don't know. It's hard to deny any of those facts for sure. Mortal Kombat creator asks fans if they want Marvel versus DC game. Okay. Mortal Kombat creator Ed Boon is trying to find out what fans want to see next from NetherRealm Studios, suggested the possibility of a Marvel vs. DC Comics video game. For years, fans have been begging for a Marvel vs. DC video game. They're the two biggest names in the superhero world, and fans want to see what would happen if Iron Man went up against Batman or something along those lines. In the 90s, Marvel and DC had a comic book crossover, which was a giant form of wish fulfillment for superhero lovers everywhere. With the rise of the MCU, fans have also wanted to see the various movie universes collide for one big crossover. While it might be a while before the movies can make that happen, Mortal Kombat creator Ed Boon seems to be toying with the idea of it in a video game. On Twitter, Boon asked what fans wanted to see from NetherRealm next. Two of the most obvious choices were a new Mortal Kombat, Injustice 3, and perhaps most interestingly, a Marvel game or Marvel vs. DC. Of course, NetherRealm is owned by Warner Brothers and has taken advantage of DC's various characters in both Injustice and the Mortal Kombat series, but never Marvel. Boon confirmed in 2019 that he had a conversation with Marvel about a game and really wanted to do a Marvel vs. DC game, but nothing has really come from it since. There's likely a ton of logistics involved with legal rights, but maybe if the fans demand it, it will happen. At the time of writing, the poll has roughly 39,000 votes, and the Marvel vs. DC option is winning with over 33% of the votes. Of course, Marvel has had its own fighting games with Marvel's vs. Capcom and Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects, but given how beloved Mortal Kombat and Injustice are, this would be a league of its own for a number of reasons. Yeah. That would be a hugely, hugely popular thing, I think. Marvel versus DC. Absolutely. People have wanted that forever. Yep. Sims developer Max is seeking multiplayer game designer. Max has posted a new job listing as the company is now looking to hire a multiplayer game designer for one of its upcoming projects. Maxis, the studio behind one of the most ubiquitous PC games of all time, The Sims, is now hiring a senior game designer with experience in developing multiplayer video games. With the majority of Maxis titles having only had somewhat limited multiplayer capabilities, this presents fans with a potentially fascinating new world of possibility for the studio's next mainline release. Of course, The Sims isn't the only franchise Maxis has worked on in the past. The studio had previously worked on games such as SimCity and Spore, most notably wherein both of these IPs flirted with the basics of multiplayer functionality at some point in time. Regardless, the developer's next project calls for a person to, quote, advocate for the social and multiplayer aspects of all experiences. And Maxis is now looking for someone trained in the multiplayer gaming niche to jump into this position. It's been known for some time that Maxis is modernizing The Sims' graphics engine to a potentially substantial extent, suggesting the studio may be gearing up for a new mainline Sims release. Now, however, it has also been revealed that the studio is ready for a modern multiplayer experiment on one of its upcoming titles. Specifically, Maxis needs someone with ample expertise in multiplayer game design for PC, consoles, and mobile devices, as well as with production know-how for live service games. The new Maxis hire would be tasked with bringing players and their creations together in potentially unexpected ways, which may sound familiar to fans of Spore. It has been argued that Spore should be explored anew with cutting-edge technology and contemporary gaming sensibilities, but it's rather unlikely that this is the direction that Maxis would take. Instead, the likelier outcome is that Maxis is hoping to implement advanced multiplayer features into the next Sims title. Makes perfect sense for Maxis to pursue this line of thinking too. Some have argued that The Sims 5 should focus on daily routine yet again, instead of delivering even crazier topical DLC with werewolves and various other assorted sci-fi and fantasy elements. What better way for Maxis to sign off on this notion than to work on a way to officially implement a Sims multiplayer mode? After all, a new Sims game is long overdue by now. The franchise has proven immensely successful for Maxis and EA over the years, and the odds of them skipping over a new mainline Sims title in lieu of a different and riskier IP are rather low. Whatever the case may be, fans should keep an eye on further news about Maxis, as it's likely the studio's next project, Sims or not, will be an exciting predicament. Okay, well we'll see what they end up coming up with, whether it be one, a new iteration of one of their very successful current IPs or something new. Dune Awakening. One second, guys. Sorry. News, release date, gameplay, platforms, more, everything we know. Dune Awakening has been announced at Gamescom, was one of the highlights of the show. Here's everything we know about Dune. And what you can expect from the game, including the release date, as well as details on the gameplay and story of the game. After the very successful film adaptation from 2021, and I cannot wait for the next, we will finally get video games set in the world of Dune again. There have already been some. I think the main one was mobile, though. There is the strategy game Dune Spice Wars, yes, that, which harkens back to the classic Dune 2 from 1992. There's also another title, probably even more exciting, in which we are taking a closer look at here, Dune Awakening. The game was announced at the Gamescom Opening Night Live 2022, was one of the most exciting reveals of the show. We know that Dune Awakening is developed by Funcom, and that it will be a survival MMO set on the iconic desert planet Arrakis. But what else has been revealed about the game so far? Before we go on about anything else, let's watch the trailer, okay? Let's see what this has to show. We haven't seen this yet.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. face my fear.
Sandworms, baby. Let's go.
I will permit it to pass over and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Okay. Sign up for the beta at doomgames.com. Okay. You can already sign up for the beta. You can do that now at, again, doomgames.com. No details on the beta have been revealed yet, neither dates nor anything concrete on what you will get to see and play. Yeah, the trailer there was just cinematic. So let's sign up now for these future beta tests for a chance to get selected for one of them. Release date. Probably have to wait for Awakening until 2023. At least there's no official release date. Surviving in the desert. Survival MMO, according to Funcom. This is not the most surprising news in the world, since Funcom's latest hit, Conan Exiles, is set in the same genre. While we haven't seen any gameplay of the Dune game yet, this fact, together with some descriptions from the website, gives us a decent idea of what the game will most likely play like. Conan featured several elements like hunger and thirst. We can imagine this would fit well into a Dune game. In the trailer, you can see the featured character wearing a Freeman suit, still suit, and one of the descriptions talks about maintaining your still suit. We expect degradation and upkeep of your suit for water retention and other important features to be a big part of the gameplay. That would make sense. Several blurbs from the official website give us more hints for the gameplay, including the mentions of shelters, controlling and consuming spice, and exploration and discovery of Arrakis. Here are the descriptions of the game. Survive the most dangerous planet in the universe. Build shelters against sandstorms. Maintain your still suit. And master the old ways to walk even the deepest deserts. Avoid or be devoured by the colossal sandworms that dwell beneath the sands. Control the spice, control Arrakis. Hunt for spice blows and deploy your harvester. Then protect it from opportunistic raiders and rival factions. Soak the sand in blood as massive battle shift seamlessly from foot to vehicles and from ground to ornithopters in the sky. Explore the ever-changing face of Arrakis. Walk the ruins of long-forgotten biological testing stations, scavenge the wreckage of fallen spaceships, and wander the dusty halls of abandoned sieges. Head into unmapped sectors and be the first to discover secrets and riches before the Coriolis storms once again shift the sands and alter the landscape. Make plans within plans. Make a name for yourself among the inhabitants of Arrakis. Wield intrigue and force to influence the Landstrad and impact the world. Build your own faction through spice harvesting, trade, subterfuge, and open conflict. Awaken the sleeper. Tailor every aspect of your character. Consume spice to conquer your senses and acquire powerful abilities. Hone your craft and become sought out for the finest creations. Construct your fortress in the style of your choosing. The journey is yours to shape. Platforms. It's going to launch on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. Yep. Really tough to tell a whole lot other than just generalities about what we're going to experience in the game. But without seeing any kind of gameplay, we'll see more as time goes on, I'm sure. 12-minute long gameplay video of Evil West, and pre-order your copy now. Let's read that last. We'll see where we are time-wise by the time we finish up the news segment. We might watch that. We might just link it in chat for everybody. We'll see. Atari reveals Sunnyvale, a massive new experience in the sandbox. Atari, one of the world's most iconic consumer brands and interactive entertainment producers, today announced the launch of Atari Sunnyvale, a massive social and gaming experience in the sandbox, a leading decentralized gaming virtual world and subsidiary of Animoca Brands. Sunnyvale includes a dozen environments based on classic Atari games and a full game based on Crystal Castles in all 17 original Atari games. In all, 17 original Atari games are represented. Within Sunnyvale, players will be able to explore and interact with each other and with NPCs based on Atari characters. Players can also participate in a number of quests and games like hide and seek, with winners receiving rewards. The Crystal Castles experience is a game in which players race through a maze-like castle, collecting gems and fighting off enemies. Crystal Castles TM is just the first of many games to come. Sandbox is an immersive virtual world where players can create virtual worlds and games and take part in experiences created by others. The voxel gaming platform enables creators to craft, play, share, collect, and trade, all in a decentralized environment. Creators have secure ownership and copyright of their creations because all in-game items have a unique and immutable blockchain identifier. Atari Sunnyvale is launching as part of the Sandbox Alpha Season 3. Quote, "We are incredibly excited to share Atari Sunnyvale with the Sandbox community, and we know it will draw more Atari fans to the growing platform," said Tyler Druitt, director of Atari X. Quote, "I am particularly eager for people to experience the elaborate and wondrous environments based on our games that have been created by Sandbox partner studio MetaWorld Entertainment." Atari remains one of the largest shareholders in the Sandbox and will continue to work with partners to develop more experiences to engage the player community over the coming years. Press kit with videos of Atari Sunnyvale is available here. The new Crystal Castles trailer is available on YouTube. Let's take a look at this stuff real quick. See. Okay, that's not what I wanted. That's just the press kit. Let's look at this real quick. See what the Sandbox is. Okay. There you go. All right. I'll link this if you want to look at more information about Atari Sandbox, okay? There you go. Video game industry still has much to learn about excessive overtime. Yeah, what is often referred to as crunch in the video game industry, right? We've talked a lot about this. Crunch culture. See, crunch culture rears its head. In the 90s and early 2000s, video games were created by brute force. Lots of people put many hours of hard work into design and code, sacrificing nights and weekends and often their families for art. Since then, the industry has become more professional. Crunch, an industry term for excessive overtime, is still persistent, but is less tolerated. Companies such as EA and Rockstar have made efforts to improve work-life balance for their employees. There are still some leaders living in the past, as game development veteran Glenn Schofield showed over Labor Day weekend with a tweet about his team. Schofield, the chief executive officer of San Ramon, California-based Striking Distance Studios, has been on a press tour promoting his upcoming action horror game, The Callisto Protocol. So we've already actually talked about this. We've talked a lot about this. We've seen this quote. "I only talk about the game during an event," he wrote on Twitter on Saturday. "We are working 6 to 7 days a week. Nobody forcing us. Exhaustion, tired, COVID, but we're working. Bugs, glitches, perf fixes. One last pass through audio. 12 to 15 hour days. This is gaming, hard work, lunch, dinner, working. You do it because you love it." Yeah, a sentiment that might have gone unnoticed 20 years ago, but last weekend it was widely pilloried. There's another quote we saw recently where, I can't remember who said it, but it was like, it was a badge of honor to, sleep under your desk or whatever. But the thing is, this creates, I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm going to throw it in chat. We've talked about this a lot because we have talked about this so much. I'm not going to read this entire article. I'll throw it in chat for you guys to take a look at. We've talked about this a lot. Crunch culture, is definitely a thing. it creates burnout. It creates bad working environments for people because it sets a precedent for what management and supervisors and the corporation and companies as a whole feel like its employees should be doing, which is working crunch. And that's not good. That's not good. It's not healthy. We talk a lot about whatever, unhealthy work environments as a whole. It doesn't have to be gaming industry. Businesses taking care of their people should be at the forefront of what it does. Happy employees are more efficient, more productive for the employer and the business as a whole. And, it just results in a better product and a better work environment. Now, things like this, like a crunch culture, is just bad. It's not good. There's a difference between, an employer prompting its employees and saying no repercussions, but we have the opportunity for people to work some overtime if you would like some extra hours, what have you. If not, that's absolutely fine. That's the important thing, is that there needs to be that understanding that if you don't want to take those extra hours, it is okay. And you're not going to be looked down upon for not taking those hours or anything like that, right? But what we've seen is that this was definitely a culture throughout specifically the gaming industry in the past. And we've seen quotes of people saying things like, it was a badge of honor, to be able to do this in the past. Well, what you should be looking for is, like, if you had to do this as maybe like an indie dev or whatever to get your game, finished and off the floor, and you should look at it as like, I had to do that. That was my choice. And now I've got this studio I'm running potentially, and I'm one of the figureheads behind it. I've got more people working for me now. I don't necessarily want them working in that kind of environment, having to deal with that kind of a situation. I should be wanting to take care of my people and not have to make them sleep under a desk. You know what I mean? That should be the mindset, not, oh, you don't have your badge of honor yet in the development. That's not the mindset that should be there. So that's what this article is going to be about. We've talked about it a lot. Take a look at it. I know that we've talked about it a lot. This is exactly what this article is going to be about. And that crunch culture within the industry has got to change. I think that it becoming part of, what is, it has become something that people are aware of in the industry now, right? And that's the main thing. There is awareness of this being an issue, which is, the first thing that has to happen for there to be change, right? To move away from this bad kind of culture of making people work too much or making them feel like they need to do this kind of thing when they shouldn't have to. So that's what it's about. The biggest announcement and trailers from Disney and Marvel's Game Showcase. Disney showed off a whole bunch of video games. Yep. We're going to skim this real quick. We watched a lot of this yesterday. Ron. This is really what I wanted to see. We didn't get to see this yesterday. Tron Identity is a new visual novel from the maker of Thomas Was Alone. Disney revealed a new game in the Tron universe titled Tron Identity. The brief teaser trailer was mostly just a title card. The game's Steam page reveals quite a bit more. It's actually a visual novel mystery game. Tron Identity is set to release in 2023. Will be developed by Bithell Games, the maker of indie titles like Thomas Was Alone. Okay. Yeah, we saw Black Panther and Captain America, and we had gotten a bit of some pre-information that this game was coming. That was going to be like their big announcement, I think. This was like their big announcement was this game. Yeah, this was the the weird trailer. Let's do what we do. Wick, what's up, dude? We saw where Marvel Midnight Suns gets a December 2nd release date. Marvel Snap, did we see that? Yeah, we did. Yeah, this is that mobile game, right? Yeah, we did see that. Yeah, but it is for PC as well. So there is a new card battler game coming. I thought it was just for mobile, but it looks like it is for PC as well. But we did see that yesterday as well. And Monkey Island, yeah. So that's the gist of what we did see yesterday. If you're interested, I would say go check out the VOD from the showcase, the Disney Marvel showcase yesterday. You can find it on Twitch. It, in my opinion, was not. We had seen where we were planning on watching PlayStation Showcase. We were told there's. We found an article saying there's supposed to be a PlayStation Showcase yesterday, and I don't think there was one. So we ended up going over and watching the Marvel Disney Showcase. Disney is not a huge pull for me. It does not pique my interest very much. So I was going to go back and watch this today. I didn't expect to be real impressed by what I saw from the Disney Marvel showcase. It's just me. I never expected to be in the first place, and I wasn't. But a lot of that just comes from the fact that I'm not real big on Disney stuff. That's just my personality. It just doesn't appeal to me. And as far as Marvel goes, Marvel, I feel like, especially because Marvel is Disney, they really try to play towards the superhero thing. And while some of the superheroes are cool, like I dig Iron Man, stuff like that, I'm much more aligned with like anti-heroes and villains and stuff. And so I saw some Disney villain stuff that looked cool. But that was about it. I don't know. That was just me personally, though. Assassin's Creed games are dirt cheap right now, probably because of the Ubisoft Forward event happening today. Yeah, ahead of the reveal of Assassin's Creed Mirage, Ubisoft is slashing prices. In need of hundreds of hours of open world RPG adventuring, you're in luck. A new Assassin's Creed blowout sale means Valhalla and other titles are currently super cheap. Don't worry, some of the older ones are massively discounted as well. The sale has launched ahead of the September 10th Ubisoft Forward showcase, where the French publisher is set to reveal the future of the Assassin's Creed franchise. That reportedly includes new details about Assassin's Creed Infinity and 3 upcoming games, including Mirage, Project Red, and Project Neo Hex. In the meantime, Ubisoft is slashing the price on a bunch of existing games on Xbox and PlayStation through September 15th. Sorry, PC and Switch players. That's weird. So here's the list, but for those keeping track, that's every major Assassin's Creed of the last decade for under $100. If you prefer sprawling maps and looting corpses for crafting resources, the 3 latest games in the series have you covered. If you want to go back to the more traditional stealth experience, which is what Mirage is supposed to be based more around, they're supposed to be getting back to basics with the Mirage game coming out. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered is a perfect one to return to. If you skipped Unity altogether because it was still broken when Ubisoft rushed it out the door in 2014, it's worth giving a second look, especially with the new frame rates on Xbox Series X, S, and PS5. Unfortunately, the Ezio collection is not part of the current sale. Neither are the smaller episodic spin-offs like Assassin's Creed Chronicles. You can grab the season passes for Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla for over half off. Ubisoft's September 10th forward event will be its first showcase in over a year. During that time, it's been plagued by attrition, production delays, and worker complaints. The AC Sisterhood blog recently interviewed current employees about the company's ongoing response to a reckoning with misconduct allegations that began in 2020. A group identifying itself as a better Ubisoft has called on CEO Yves Guillemot and the rest of management to give workers a seat at the table in misconduct investigations and to address other issues like work from home flexibility and pay raises during a period of unprecedented inflation. Ubisoft has so far rejected the demands. Okay. There you go. If you're interested, get some Assassin's Creed games on sale for Xbox and PS5 right now. I wonder why they didn't put any on sale for PC. Yeah, these are not on sale, man. Look at this. That's really weird. That's really weird. Okay, well, whatever. Whatevs, man. The Ubisoft Forward, what time is this today? Let's take a look here. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock for us today. So we'll try to catch this. Pre-show starts at 1:35, so we might just tune in then. We'll leave this up. Yeah, so about 1:30, we'll switch over here and we'll just try to tune in. Finish off the stream with the Ubisoft showcase, okay? New Gargoyles video game announced. It's a great time for fans of Disney Gargoyles franchise. Weeks after it was announced the cult classic would revive as a comic series from Dynamite Entertainment, Disney has announced it's rolling out a new video game in support of the franchise. Friday, the D23 Expo Games Showcase unveiled Gargoyles Remastered, an updated version of the Sega Genesis game first released in 1995. Little is known about the game itself other than it will be putting new life into the remastered version, and no release time frame is set as of now. It also has yet to be unveiled if any of the voice actors will return to voice their characters in the series. When we spoke with Keith David last year, the actor said a reprisal of Goliath is one of the biggest checkboxes on his to-do list. Okay. So the show itself is currently streaming on Disney Plus. If you want to go back and get another look at it, if you ever saw it, or just get a look at what Gargoyles is, the cartoon from way back in the 90s. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I just read about and put in chat there, gamer. Yep. On both Xbox and PlayStation, but they are not on sale on PC. Yep. That's why I took a look on Steam just to verify. But yeah, that's the article we just read, buddy. Yep. Not all of them, but a good chunk of the games are on sale on. I think the Ezio, what they say, the Ezio collection's not on sale, but almost all the other ones are. Bithell Games working on Tron visual novel with Disney. Yeah, we already kind of read about this. So Tron Identity announced yesterday during the Disney and Marvel showcase. Due at some point in 2023. visual novel. We'll take a quick look at the trailer. Okay, we already kind of read about that. So 2023 visual novel Tron, cool. Official Steam Deck repair centers are now open. Valve delivered good news today for Steam Deck owners who aren't sure what they'll do if they end up breaking their precious portable gaming machines. Official Steam Deck repair centers are now open. Quote, if you encounter an issue and need to send your Steam Deck for repair or replacement, devices will now go to one of our repair centers, Valve said. Once there, our team will diagnose the device, repair if needed, then ship the fixed unit back to you. Repairs for issues covered by warranty are free of charge. If a Steam Deck comes in that is not covered by warranty, our team will reach out and offer to repair the device for a fee, if repair is possible. This out-of-warranty repair service is completely optional, and you can ask for your device back if you prefer. Valve laid out a couple of scenarios in which Steam Deck owners might find themselves in order to illustrate the sort of things that are covered under warranty: intermittent button problems, which would be diagnosed, fixed, tested, and shipped back at no charge, and those that are not. My dog chewed off my thumbsticks, which can be diagnosed, fixed, and shipped back to you, but you're going to pay for it. That's fair, I think. For those who prefer the DIY approach, do-it-yourself approach, Valve noted that iFixit continues to offer a range of replacement parts, repair kits, and guides. For a lot of Steam Deck owners, that will likely be the avenue of choice. A Steam Deck owning friend of mine recently raved about the unit's ease of access and use of standard components, which makes it relatively easy to swap parts around. Yes, so this is one of the great things that I became aware of very early on about the Steam Deck. What Valve has done is made it very, very accessible, easy to replace, repair, if you have any kind of basic skills yourself to dive in to do this, as well as making cheap replacement parts easily obtainable. Easily obtainable, cheap replacement parts. Let's state it that way. And they've also made it to where accessing the internals of the device itself does not void your warranty. So they've made the Steam Deck very, very user-friendly, owner-friendly, right? To where if something does seem wrong, maybe you've got a joystick that's got some drift and you want to replace or whatever, you can just do that. And if you feel competent in replacing it yourself, you can just do it. You know, it's awesome. We're glad to see this get the service up and running, Valve said. Most folks won't ever need to use it, but for those of you that do, we want to make sure you're taken care of. If you have a Steam Deck in need of assistance and want to take advantage of Valve's repair centers, you can start the wheels turning by contacting Steam support. Here you go. If anybody has a Steam Deck. Perfect Dark gets new update from Xbox executive. An Xbox executive has offered an update on Perfect Dark, a reboot of Rare's iconic shooter. Perfect Dark was officially announced in 2020 after a new studio known as The Initiative was formed in 2018. The studio is comprised of veterans from across the gaming industry, ensuring only the best of the best are working on this title. Xbox has referred to the game as a quadruple A title, as opposed to the normal AAA label used for big budget titles. That's new. As of right now, no one has any idea what that even means or how it could possibly live up to such a label. The game has been quiet since its initial reveal, leaving some to question what state it is in. Sorry. The only significant news to come out of Perfect Dark is that Crystal Dynamics is now helping out on the project, following rumors of painfully slow development progress and large waves of staff departures, something some speculated to mean the game was in rough shape. However, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty stated at a PAX West 2022 panel that Crystal Dynamics coming onto the project signals anything but trouble, instead highlighting the way game development is changing. Booty stated that video game development is becoming more and more complicated, and that multiple Microsoft titles have now utilized the help of other studios to get them to the finish line. As of right now, it's unclear when Perfect Dark will release. Xbox announced a lot of games in 2020 that have been extremely quiet since their reveals. Fans are still anxiously waiting Fable and Avowed. We need Avowed, dude. And, dude, I would love to play, get a new Fable as well. In addition to other titles like The Elder Scrolls, which are much further off. Hopefully we'll start to hear more on these games next year, but Xbox still seems confident in Perfect Dark despite the rumors and speculation. All right. The Last of Us Part 1 remake isn't the only, Miss Bat, what's up, my friend? Yeah, Fable's great. Dude, I still own the original on Xbox One. Yeah, Fable was awesome. Yeah. The Last of Us Part 1 remake isn't the only excessive remaster out there. Yeah, whenever we pulled this article up, one of the things I was talking about was we've gotten what it seems like this current era of development that we're in with a lot of larger developers anyways, is this issue of them being scared to dive into making new games sometimes. So instead they look at what older titles do we have that we can remake. And I think it's starting to create this issue where games are being remastered or remade that don't necessarily even need it yet, you know? And that's kind of the deal with The Last of Us Part 1 right now, where people are going, why is this being done currently? You know? Like, the game didn't necessarily look like it needed it to a lot of people. And it's not the only title that has had this issue. Last of Us Part 1 remake has been a regular topic in gaming news ever since it was first announced. The discussion surrounding it has been more or less consistently focused on one question. Should it exist? Die-hard fans, of course, say yes, it absolutely should. On the other hand, lesser fans and other critics say the opposite and argue that it's still a relatively young game that had already gotten the HD remaster treatment back in 2014. There are perhaps good arguments for both positions, but the curious thing about this conversation is that so many participants are acting like this is a unique case when it isn't. Rather, it's just the latest entry in a quickly growing library of bare-bones remakes and rehashes, yeah. So it's not just a question of whether or not The Last of Us Part 1 is worthwhile, but also one of whether this sort of remake is worth gamers' time, money, and attention at all. While it's fun to see old nostalgic favorites all spruced up with fresh visuals on new hardware, there's no denying that many of these games are basically the same as their original iterations. Yeah, that could be considered a good thing, but are visuals enough to justify $40 plus purchase? No. Perhaps if the original game is old enough to no longer be easily accessible, but even then, wouldn't a cheap, simple port be better? Now, that's definitely something to take into consideration when you talk about a game, some like a title like Demon's Souls, right? Demon's Souls was a title that only ever came out on PS3. Only ever came out on PS3, right? And so I can accept more, you know. And man, how old was Demon's Souls by the time it got a remake? I feel like it was due. It got a remake. It was completely overhauled. It came out for the PS5, and I can accept more a title like that having a higher price on it, you know, than something that didn't necessarily need it, you know. The Last of Us Part 1 remake and Skyrim are current poster children for excessive remasters since they've both received multiple re-releases since their initial launches. But even one-off remakes aren't necessarily good things. Take Pac-Man World Repack, for example, a remake in the same vein as the Cash Insane trilogy and Spyro Reignited trilogy. That is, visuals aside, it's virtually identical to the original version. It looks good, plays as well as it ever did, and is even more liberal with extra lives. That's exactly the issue, though. There's nothing new here. An HD port would have accomplished the same things, and it likely would have been sold for cheaper. It's not that these games are bad or anything. They're good enough to make a return after all. It's just that these pseudo remakes offer nothing beyond admittedly good visuals and or art direction. Absolutely. This isn't to say that all remakes are unnecessary. True remakes like Final Fantasy VII Remake actually do add something to what came before. They offer something besides nostalgia, something that makes them distinct from the original, makes them worthwhile for fans both new and old. Old fans get a fun mix of new and familiar, while new fans get an entirely new experience plus an incentive to back and finally give the original a try. In other words, true remakes add value to their IP, while the best a remaster visual-only remake can do is simply maintain it. Preserving old classics, random mode time, get them in there. Preserving old classics is a good thing, and good companies should do their best to ensure that their past labor survive into the future. That said, why not simply preserve the originals and redirect manpower from visual remake projects into true remakes paired with modern ports of originals instead? Such projects are no doubt more difficult to produce, but the trade-off is a more valuable property, a growing, more enthusiastic fan base, and likely more money from sales of both the new game and the old. Fewer remasters and more full remakes would be a win for everyone, maker and fan alike. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't even think that, what they're talking about here in the, true remake, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, adds something totally different to what came before. It doesn't even necessarily have to be that, but a full true remake, like I said, like with Demon Souls, I feel like it was a good time to fully remake Demon Souls. A true remake, but it was the game got entirely overhauled for modern technology, modern platform, and it only ever came out on the PS3 before. So now it's out on PS5. That's 2 generations of console away. And I feel like it was a good time to go ahead and do that, and it didn't necessarily change anything about what the game provided as far as story or anything, and it didn't need to. But I do feel like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to just be doing, these kinds of like remasters that don't necessarily need it yet, That's just weird. When resources, nice Miss Bat. When these resources from these developers could be like utilized to actually come up with some new cool content for us to experience. But it feels like they're scared to do that. We see a lot of this nowadays. I don't know. All right. Here is, we'll watch this. We've got time. This is the last article I have for today. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to play The Witcher 3 today. We're trying to get through the DLC so we can move on to starting play of Cult of the Lamb. Yeah. So we're going to keep playing the main quest line of the DLC of Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, and try to get through the game so we can move on to our playthrough of Cult of the Lamb, okay? But today at about 1:30, we're going to switch over and watch the Ubisoft Forward Showcase. So I don't know how much time we have left in the DLC. If we finish the DLC early, we'll play some like other rando games or whatever until this starts. If not, we'll just switch over and watch this. We'll play the Witcher 3 until we get to the time that we need to switch over and watch this. All right, that's the plan for today. That's what we're gonna do. But this will be the last article for today. We're gonna watch this gameplay trailer, get a bit of an extended look at what Evil West has for us. Okay. And that'll be it for the news segment today. If you have anything to add that I haven't covered today or in previous news segments, let me know in chat, and I will address it before we move on, okay? So let's read this, and then we'll watch this trailer to end the news segment today, okay? Evil West pre-orders are now live, and to celebrate, a new 12-minute long gameplay trailer has been released showcasing Evil West in action, along with a few cutscenes. Evil West is currently set to release on November 22nd, 2022 on the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and PC. You can check out the gameplay trailer above and read below for more info. Evil West, the third-person action game that puts you in the boots of a vampire hunter rescuing a Wild West devoured by darkness. Just revealed a new extended gameplay video and opened pre-orders for all platforms. Coming on November 22nd. Today's 12-minute level preview shows extended gameplay sequences and gives plenty of new narrative detail, introducing more plot and characters through the showcased levels cutscenes. Discover a cowboys meet historical figures meet gothic horror world of corrupted politics and covered up vampire situations, within which young gunslinger Jesse Rentier and his father's vampire hunting organization, the Rentier Institute, play a central part. Then plunge into the heat of the action as the Rentier Institute experiences a major crisis. Fight virulent hordes of bloodthirsty monsters in a burning building, unleashing your old school rifle and cutting edge Rentier Institute technology in an explosive mix of shooting and melee combat. The vampire menace hit hard, and it will be up to you to eradicate it starting November 22nd. All right, let's watch this. Love the sound of it. Yeah, what I've seen of it so far looks really cool, too. So, I don't always take the time to watch really long trailers or videos like this in the news segment, but, I figured today we'll go ahead and just take a look at it and see what they're going to kind of tease us with here, yeah? Let's take a look at this.
Okay, let's dance. You have to do better to stop me. This one's huge. Oh, I'll be damned. That's a new way to spend taxpayers' money.
James Harrow. The people's hero. I heard the White House sends him golden toilet paper, as long as he keeps the presidential ass clear of tick trouble. Feed him well. We've got a lot of ground to cover tonight.
You're not staying for the presentation? The whole institute is in town.
I'll pass on the corporate backpatting session. I don't need another retirement lecture. Here, take this to your father before it wakes up and starts cursing us all to high hell.
Great, so I'll just tell him you've traded killing vampires for swilling cheap bourbon?
Tell him whatever you want.
Fine, skip the presentation. But you ain't getting away from a final drink with me afterwards. Home sweet home.
Mr. Rentier?
At ease, boys. My father in his office?
He is. How did it go? Did you get that big fangster you were after?
Mr. Rentier, Agent Feathers is waiting for you in the lobby.
Oh, officially they called it a cholera epidemic, but truth was they were dealing with a terrible outbreak of amateur necromancy.
This gives me like BioShock vibes, I think because of the time period of it.
Train fare here cost me an arm and a leg. Sure hope it's worth it.
You're just in time. The presentation should be starting soon.
What do you got for me this time?
Gravener by the stables. He ain't coming in.
I heard Gravener's finally retired.
Gentlemen, if you'll take your seats. And, welcome. Yeah, I'm Assistant Secretary of War, James Harrow. President Cleveland wants you to know how appreciative we are of the vital service the Rentier Institute performs, defending our great country from monsters of all shapes and sizes. He also wanted me to make sure you're not blowing all our money on Mexican Monty, but that's another conversation. Yes, quite. Well, as I say, keep up the good work. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you all for gathering here tonight. It's rare we gather in such numbers, but I believe great progress calls for momentous celebration. Our efforts in the fight against the sanguisuga's spread have too often been baffled by the creature's most insidious weapon, their so-called glamours. These impenetrable illusions have allowed countless fiends to slip through our grasp for too long. That ends now. Agent Rentier, we've upgraded the standard field agent's gauntlet with something our science bots have affectionately named the Zapper. Not exactly an elegant name.
Zapper.
When triggered, the Zapper sends out an electrical impulse that shatters any nearby sanguisuga's glamours forthwith, eliminating what is not and leaving only what is. Once finished, these new gauntlets will be distributed to cells nationwide post-haste, allowing us to sweep our respective territories for glamored nooks and crannies. This is the beginning of a new age, gentlemen. Armed with this gauntlet, there is no way our enemy can surprise us.
No way. That was pretty cool. Get yoinked. Yeah. That was a Superman punch, dude. That was awesome. Oh, what was that? Yuck, dude. Nice. What's this? This is oh god, it was a Weird West.
Couldn't gotten far.
Is that what we're watching? Evil West, sorry, not Weird West. That was the other game. Evil West, dude. Evil West. So this is like a 12-minute gameplay trailer. My bad. That just came out yesterday, so we're just getting a bit of a look at it. Or this is like the last article for the news segment today. Taking a bit of a peek. What's up, buddy? How are you, man? Oh, let's go. That looks pretty satisfying, dude. I like the But it does look like they showed us earlier. There's like an entire like skill tree and stuff where I think it's gonna change the way combat flows and stuff. Oh, that's awesome. Look at all the heads. Nice.
Shut your ugly traps.
Make a salad, dude? You should put a bunch of meat on there. Right on, dude. Let's try making some jam for the first time. Nice, dude. Oh, wow. Strange Brigade. Why does that sound familiar? Okay. Yeah, gamer. Actually, Plague Tale Innocence is actually on sale on Steam right now, too, man. I'm going to pick it up. Super cheap. Because what like I was saying yesterday, what I want to do, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. I want to play the second one's going to be coming out before too long. And I want to play them kind of back to back. So I would like play Plague Tale 1 and then roll right in playing Plague Tale 2 right when it releases. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the first one. I think it's like $9. You can get the first one and the DLC. Yeah, Requiem. Yep. I wonder if they allow you to change the UI, be like in a different area of the screen. I don't necessarily like my health bar being down in the bottom left-hand part of the screen, but for the HUD, I mean. Some of the zombies look weird. I mean, oh, it's leaving Game Pass soon. Not sure if you get them all. I hope you do, man. What's a? You mean as opposed to like just a normal human zombie? I don't think all of these are zombies, though, Miss Bad.
What is this?
The elephant face, that's what I figured you were probably talking about.
Get him out of here.
I mean, I liked it. You know, it's like a tentacle. You know, I like tentacles. So, it was good.
I couldn't leave you at the mercy of these savages.
Oh, yay. It's Alma!
That you fleshy toad! You nearly hit him.
Come on.
Mighty
You fleshy toad, she said.
on ash and blood. I had hoped you'd make it more difficult.
Oh, let's go, dude. Big, cool looking vampire. Let's go. Oh, let it grab you. I want to see it grab you. Please, dude. Alright, so you've got some iframes on your rolls there. That's cool. Oh, what is this noise? Oh, he got him. Yes!
Okay.
They didn't show the whole thing. Cool. That was awesome. They showed him getting grabbed. That's what I wanted to see.
You have to do better.
What a banger.
This one's huge.
"20-second So this got delayed a little bit. But that looks cool. That looks cool, man. Yeah. Yep. Nice. What you guys think? Looks like it could be cool. Could be cool. Oh, gosh, dude, what a stretch. All right, that's what I got. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool, too. Yeah, I like it. Hopefully it'll be good. Looks pretty wild. Again, the plan for today is we're going to just keep going with The Witcher 3 and finish up this final DLC. Then we're going to go watch the Ubisoft Forward showcase, which we'll be switching over to at roughly 1:35 p.m. So we've got a little under 6 hours of Witcher gameplay. And then we'll switch over to the Ubisoft to finish the day off. Ubisoft Forward showcase, okay? So that's the play. That's the play for us. You guys rock. Thanks for being a part of this community. Everybody, you're amazing. And thanks to everybody that was part of today's news segment. You guys are awesome. If you're checking out this content later on YouTube and you're enjoying what you're seeing, see what you can do about coming and hanging out with myself and the rest of this amazing community when we go live at 6 o'clock a.m. CST every single day. And we start off all of our streams with video gaming news before we hop into whatever video game play we're going to be doing for the rest of the day, okay? Also, consider hitting that like and subscribe button for me, please. And other than that, just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow for September 11th edition of Video Gaming News. All right?